From a small city-state on the Italian peninsula to an empire that would shape the course of Western civilization, the story of ancient Rome is a tale of ambition, innovation, and legacy. It's a history that continues to echo through our modern world, in our laws, our languages, and our very cities. Let us journey back in time to explore the rise and fall of one of the greatest civilizations ever known. Our story begins not with historical fact, but with myth. According to legend, Rome was founded on April 21st, 753 BC, by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, descendants of the Trojan hero Aeneas and sons of the god Mars. They were abandoned as infants and miraculously suckled by a she-wolf. After a fateful dispute, Romulus killed his brother and became the first king of the city he named after himself, Rome. This foundational myth, steeped in divine will and brutal ambition, perfectly captures the spirit of the civilization that would follow. For its first 2.5 centuries, Rome was ruled by a series of 7 kings. This period saw the city grow, establishing its early political and social structures. But the Romans grew wary of absolute power. In 509 BC, they overthrew their last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, and declared a new form of government, the residential publica or the republic. The Roman Republic was a revolutionary concept. Power was vested in the people and exercised through elected officials. At its heart were 2 consuls, elected annually to lead the state and the army. The Senate, an assembly of elder statesmen from patrician families, served as an advisory council, wielding immense influence. And for the common people, the plebeians, assemblies were created to pass laws and elect magistrates. This system of checks and balances was designed to prevent any one individual from gaining too much control. For nearly 500 years, the Republic expanded its influence. Through a series of brutal wars, including the Punic Wars against its great rival Carthage, Rome conquered the Italian peninsula and then expanded across the Mediterranean. This expansion brought immense wealth and new territories, but it also created deep social and political tensions. The gap between the rich and the poor widened, and the traditional republican system struggled to manage a vast, multicultural territory. By the 1st century BC, the Republic was in crisis. A series of powerful generals, commanding loyal, professional armies, began to dominate the political landscape. Figures like Marius, Sulla, and Pompey challenged the authority of the Senate, leading to a series of devastating civil wars. Into this chaos stepped one of history's most iconic figures, Gaius Julius Caesar. A brilliant military commander and a masterful politician, Caesar conquered Gaul, modern-day France, adding vast territories to Rome. His popularity and ambition were seen as a direct threat to the Republic. When the Senate ordered him to disband his army, he famously crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BC, uttering the words "Aelii actorist," the die is cast. This act ignited another civil war. Caesar emerged victorious, becoming dictator for life. His reforms were extensive, but his accumulation of power alienated many senators who feared he would become a king. On the Ides of March, 44 BC, he was assassinated on the floor of the Senate, a desperate act to save the Republic. But it was too late. Caesar's death plunged Rome into yet another round of civil wars. His grandnephew and adopted heir, Octavian, formed an alliance with Mark Antony and Lepidus to hunt down the assassins. But this alliance soon crumbled. The final showdown came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where Octavian's forces defeated the combined fleets of Mark Antony and the Egyptian queen Cleopatra. With all his rivals gone, Octavian stood alone as the master of the Roman world. Wary of Caesar's fate, Octavian was a political genius. He carefully avoided titles like king or dictator. Instead, in 27 BC, he accepted the title Augustus, meaning the revered one, and princeps, or first citizen. He claimed to have restored the Republic, but in reality, he retained ultimate authority, controlling the army, the treasury, and the provinces. The Roman Empire was born. The reign of Augustus ushered in an unprecedented era of peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For over 200 years, the vast expanse of the empire, from Britain to Mesopotamia, enjoyed relative stability. Trade flourished along a network of incredible roads, some of which are still in use today. A common currency and a unified legal system connected diverse peoples and cultures. This was the golden age of Roman engineering and architecture. The Romans were master builders. Using their invention of concrete, they constructed monumental structures that still inspire awe. The Colosseum, a massive amphitheater that could hold over 50,000 spectators for gladiatorial games. The Pantheon, with its breathtaking unsupported dome, and the vast network of aqueducts that supplied cities with fresh water. These are testaments to their ingenuity. They built cities with sophisticated sewer systems, public baths, libraries, and forums. Their engineering prowess wasn't just about grandeur, it was about improving daily life and administering a vast empire. Roman society was highly stratified. At the top were the senatorial and equestrian classes, the wealthy elite who owned vast tracts of land and held the most important political and military positions. Below them were the plebeians, the common citizens who made up the bulk of the population. They were artisans, shopkeepers, and farmers. At the very bottom of the social ladder were the enslaved, who had no rights and were considered property. Life in the city of Rome was crowded, noisy, and vibrant. For the poor, living conditions in tall, precarious apartment buildings called insulae were often difficult. But Roman life also offered public entertainments, like chariot races at the Circus Maximus and the brutal spectacles of the Colosseum. Family was the bedrock of Roman society. The paterfamilias, the head of the household, held absolute authority over his wife, children, and slaves. Roman law, another of its greatest legacies, was codified and developed over centuries. Principles like innocent until proven guilty and the importance of evidence have deeply influenced modern legal systems around the world. The Pax Romana, however, could not last forever. By the 3rd century AD, the empire faced what historians call the crisis of the 3rd century. It was a perfect storm of problems. The empire had become too large to govern effectively, leading to political instability. A rapid succession of so-called barracks emperors, raised to power by their armies, resulted in constant civil war. The economy faltered under the weight of hyperinflation and the immense cost of defending the empire's vast frontiers. External threats grew as Germanic tribes, Goths, and Vandals pressed against the borders, while the Sasanian Empire posed a powerful threat in the east. Emperor Diocletian attempted to solve these problems by splitting the empire into two halves in 285 AD, an eastern and a western part, each ruled by a senior and junior emperor in a system called the Tetrarchy. This provided temporary stability. His successor, Constantine the Great, would change the course of history. After winning a crucial battle, he converted to Christianity, ending centuries of persecution. In 330 AD, he moved the capital of the empire from Rome to a new city he named Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. While the Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, would thrive for another 1,000 years, the Western Roman Empire continued its slow decline. The reasons for its fall are complex and still debated by historians. The economy was in shambles, relying heavily on slave labor which dwindled as conquest ceased. The political system was corrupt and unstable. The once mighty Roman legions were increasingly filled with non-Roman mercenaries of questionable loyalty. Constant pressure from migrating peoples, often referred to as barbarian invasions, strained military and financial resources to the breaking point. The sack of Rome by the Visigoths in 410 AD was a profound psychological shock. For the first time in 800 years, the Eternal City had fallen to a foreign enemy. The final blow came in 476 AD, when the last Western Roman emperor, a young boy ironically named Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. This date is traditionally marked as the end of the Western Roman Empire. But did Rome truly fall? In many ways, its legacy is immortal. The Latin language evolved into the Romance languages: Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. The Roman legal system forms the basis of civil law in many countries today. Roman engineering principles and architectural styles have been copied and admired for centuries. The Roman Catholic Church, centered in Rome, became a dominant force in Europe for over 1,000 years, preserving much of Roman learning and culture through the Middle Ages. The idea of Rome, of a universal empire of law, order, and civilization, has captivated leaders and thinkers from Charlemagne to the founders of the United States. Its story of republican ideals, imperial ambition, technological marvels, and eventual decline serves as a timeless lesson in the complexities of power and the endurance of human achievement. The stones of the Forum may be in ruins, but the legacy of ancient Rome is all around us, an empire of ideas that never truly fell. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the epic history of ancient Rome. If you found this exploration fascinating, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the civilizations that shaped our world.